I know, Ripley. I know. I just feel like I'm forgetting something. I can't quite figure out what that is. Probably plug this in. Yeah, it should be fine. It should be fine. Should have enough power, right? Plugged in, plugged in. I don't know. Something is being forgotten, and I don't know what it is. I say any problems that arise are, of course, Ripley's fault. Let's all pile onto Ripley. Always blame Ripley. That's usually my motto. Wherever I go, I just walk around town just blaming Ripley for things. Hey, look at that manhole cover. That Ripley probably moved that. And, people believe me. Both people just believe me. They don't know who Ripley is. So, it goes over everyone's heads. But, I feel good about it. Deep down inside, I know that I've caused the right amount of trouble. Yeah, no. You're my enemy, and someday I will destroy you. I will destroy all of you. That's kind of my whole jam. I don't know what your guys' deal is, but that's my deal.
That's also my deal. But we will not join forces because I will backstab you at the slightest hint of you turning tail and joining the other side.
Oh, I'm way ahead of you, Mr. Skeleton Man. I will turn tail as well, and I actually have a tail, and I will double-cross you just for the fun of double-crossing you, only to be able to triple and quadruple cross you later on, because that is my jam, sir. That is my jam.
I'm enjoying this. Perhaps we should get in league, just for the fun of the double crossings. It's not too often you have a good old-fashioned double crossing festival all day long. Meow, 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 meow.
You're right, Ripley. That's enough. It's enough starting soon nonsense. Let's just start instead of the soon. Pause the music. Play the intro, Sweetest Angel.
Meow, 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 meow.
I'd still like to be called the Sweetest Angel someday. I'm never gonna be a Sweetest Angel. That just sounds terrible.
Meow, 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 meow.
Well, I'm not willing to just start being a sweet angel. I just want the name. I don't want to have to actually earn it with all the nonsense of, oh, now you're playing the intro. Fine, cut me off. I don't even care. Lightning crashes, and there's a building I don't live in, and a shark that's swimming by. And here we go again, nothing more, nothing lesser. A couple cats on the mics. Hopefully they're the antidepressors. Let's put the music back onto the background. Microphone. Hopefully the microphone is in the right place. And redder, bluer. Redder, bluer. Let's go with that one. Hey, Miles, how you doing now? Hey, Miles, hope you're... It's wintertime. The only rhyme I could think to go with now was plow. I hope you don't need to plow. I hope your driveway's clear. You have no fear of it getting cold this year. 'Cause it's winter, and winter sucks. It's winter. We're all out of lucks, 'cause winter, seems to persist. And winter, you can't resist. You can try all you want. Hide over here. Get under some blankets and disappear. But winter will always be there until summer. And then cycle continues. That sounds like my daily Instagram donk of nothing. Yep. Every single day, my Instagram needs to say, donk? Donk. What? There's no messages, no nothing, no updates. Just need to make you aware of Instagram every day. Thanks, Instagram. Already super aware of you. All right. That's always good. When there's nothing bad, all that can be left is miles and miles of good. And miles of good. So yeah. Still didn't technically finish last week / the many weeks before comic strip. I mean, it is technically done. Just no words. Just have to add words to it. But instead of doing that, I'll draw another thing that I was thinking of. I'm going to reuse a couch from a few comic strippings back. And just draw some new Milo and me over top of it. First, we'll start with the rough. And, of course, I'll make the brush a reasonable size. Let's go down to a 2. Let's go down to a 2 brush. Why not? Why not? I get to make the rules. I control the vertical and the horizontal. The outer limits. The outer limits. What is the outer limits, Alex? I mean, yes, that's the opening to the... It's not a guessing game. Trying to remember what shows I'm referencing. Maya Bialik. I bet, sorry. I'll take, what is the outer limits, Mr. Bialik? Is that better? That's not what... I'm saying it's not a game show. I didn't say that you had the wrong host. It's... Alex is still always going to be the more prominent reference. No offense to Maya Bialik. I've... You know, it's been 1,000 years since I watched a Jeopardy, but regardless, I don't know why we have these conversations. Sometimes it's just fun to play like, oh, hey, let me guess what it is you're talking about, because sometimes you just say a thing, and there, it has no actual relevance to the world or anything going on, so why not, turn it into a guessing game so I can have some fun instead of just listening to you just sit over here and randomly reference things for virtually no reason whatsoever. I'm controlling the vertical and the horizontal in terms of the drawings, in terms of the streamings, in terms of all of the things. It's relevant. There are 4 lights. There are 4 lights. There are 4 lights. There are 4 lights. I mean, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's like 6 lights, technically. But, ooh. I don't remember the UHF song. It's on the Dare to Be Stupid soundtrack, though, right? There was a UHF song before there was a UHF the movie? Or did the UHF movie come after? Oh, it's been a while. It's been such a long, long time. All of my Weird Al connectivity, all the Weird Al-isms within the last few years have always just been him on like Comedy Bang Bang or some other podcasts or the Comedy Bang Bang TV show. Hasn't really specifically been listening to his music in a long time, although lately YouTube is like, hey, you probably want to watch like all these Weird Al music videos, right? And I don't know if I clicked on any of them. But thanks to my job, I've had to look up a few things like Assassin's Creed 2 to find out some of the style and references in there to do some artwork for somebody. And between that and something else I had to look up, I can't remember, but it's just like all of my YouTube suggestions are all like, you probably want to know about Assassin's Creed, right? Like, no, that's it. Just wanted to basically just wanted to see the colors of stuff, shapes. Don't care anymore. Yeah, but you looked it up once, so you were gonna have it forever. Long time ago, like at least a good 2 years ago, if not 3 years ago now. I'm pretty sure it was just a YouTube suggestion that was like, hey, check it out. I'm gonna see if I can pick this supposedly unpickable lock these guys, this company invented an unpickable lock, and I'm gonna pick it. I'm like the lock guy or whatever. So I clicked on it, and I was like, this is the most boring, I don't care about thing in the world. But in the moment, it was like, ooh, maybe this will be interesting, and it wasn't. And it wasn't, and I didn't care. And still to this day, I didn't subscribe, I didn't click like, I definitely didn't watch the whole thing, but it was like, hey, most locks are like this, and actually I can still pick this lock because of blah, blah, blah. Like, okay, cool. And now it's just like, every day it's just like, huh? What about this lock? Huh? Check it out. Somebody else invented a new lock. You're super into locks, right? Or the picking of locks, or just the design of, new futuristic locks. Like, no, I'm not, actually. Stop doing this, YouTube. But in the fun adventures that is watching semi-current movies, I still very rarely watch current, let alone semi-current movies, even though it's just like, they're just on your TV. You don't have to go anywhere now. I'm just going to watch the same old stuff that I watched, or, lately I've just been watching. I still got to figure out, I don't know how to do anything. I got to figure out how to, or what the, like, Guy Montgomery posted, like, hey, if you just change your VPN, you can watch Guy Montgomery's Guy Mont Spelling Bee on, like, the New Zealand TV app or whatever. I'm like, I should do that. It looks like the funnest show ever. And I've just been watching the old-ish, like, just from, like, last year, YouTube version where he's basically doing a spelling bee with other comedians, not just New Zealand comedians. It was like episode 2 was not only Rose Matafeo, but Paul F. and Tompkins was on there, and it's just like, this is great. But it also very much reminded me why I have a hard time watching Zoom shows, shows that are, here's 6 boxes, here's 12 boxes, here's 3 boxes of people talking that are all, from all around the world or whatever. And I mean, I know the reason, but it very much reminded me that most people, when they go in to do a Zoom conference that is whether it's recorded or not, or live streamed, they just use, like, I've got my laptop, whatever my camera is for that, whatever my microphone is for that, that's what we're doing. Like, okay. And it always, it sounds okay, it sounds fine. It sounds terrible, but it sounds reasonable enough. And then Paul F., he's always had some good gear from doing podcasts at his own home and whatnot. And he's been doing a lot of, like, Zoom stuff since the pandemic. So he's got, like, some good headphones. He's in a decent room where it's, okay to record and it won't sound terrible. And he's got a really good microphone with the filter on it and everything. So he just sounds like, I assume how this microphone sounds. But he sounds like TV. And everybody else, like, either sounds terrible or it's just like, what are you doing? Like, are you sitting on a bed? Like, your camera's just shaking around and people's audio's dropping in and out. Like Rose specifically, she was, like, using her ear pods, which I didn't realize the ear pods are also a microphone. So that just drifts in and out as her hair gets in the way. I'm just like, what are you people doing? And, it's all in good fun. So it's like, it doesn't matter, but it's still kind of a game show. So it's like, you still want to hear all the things. Sometimes it drops out while they're spelling. But, regardless, it's still super fun. And I want to watch more. And there is more. Apparently, I had no idea. And I'm still not even actually sure. Like I said, like last week, I was like, I still haven't figured out how to get the speed boost at the beginning of a Mario Kart race when I could easily Google it on my phone, on my computer, on an iPad. I could yell probably into the rest of the building, how do you get the speed boost on Mario Kart? And somebody will probably answer me like, oh, now you have to wait till like once it hits 2 on the countdown, then hold down your gas and you're good to go. And it's just like, that seems too simple now. Whereas I feel like on the 64 it was you had to go boop, 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 boop on each of the number things. Anyway, so I've never had AirPods, especially once I saw that AirPods are like $200 or more. I don't even know. I remember seeing, at Staples, they have like a little card on the wall where it's like, we're not just going to leave AirPods out here. They're worth all the money. So you bring this little ticket up and we'll give you some AirPods. And I was like, how amazing are these things? Slash, how rich are people that they're prepared to lose $200 worth of headphones constantly? Because I've only ever had one pair of knockoff, like just from Staples, like I don't know, like $20 fake pods. Like they're exactly like AirPods, or at least Apple headphones. They weren't great. They didn't hold a charge very long. They wouldn't stay connected all the time. But they kind of worked pretty good. Like, once you got going, once everything was connected, it was fine. But every time I'd say go into a store, like I'd be walking with them, and it's like take one out, throw it in my pocket, and then when I go to put it back in, it's 15 minutes of, well, where is it? Where did it go? And then, thought I lost one just in town somewhere. Like I walked up and down the street where I'd gone, went into everywhere where I'd been, just like, you didn't see a headphone? Like, nope. And then got home and it was like, oh, it was just in my pocket this whole time. And I got tired of that. And I went and I got these ones. They're JLabs or JLab. That are like this kind. They kind of hook on your ear. So they're not crazy comfortable. But these ones are the first ones I had where it's like they stay charged like for a whole day pretty much. They recharge pretty quick. And the little charging case holds a good charge for forever. Like seems like I never have to plug these things in. And they're always just connected. But I just use them connected to the computer here. I'm still just back on the plug-in headphones with a wire. We're going out into the world because then people can see, hey, there's some wires hanging from my head. No need to approach me and talk to me. But the little headphones kind of disappear. And yeah, like I always want, I've done it a few times where I've bought some like just big, old 80s style headphones, wireless or otherwise. And then they're always just, I don't know, a lot of times they're usually comfortable, but then it's just like, now it's just too warm. So, I think my favorites are still mildly awkward, but the ones that are like, still in a wire, but then it just goes around your neck, like old lady glasses. So when I take them off, they just still just like hang there. And if I just want to take one out, it just hangs there and I can throw it back in. And they're always, like a little kid with his mittens tied together. But I think mostly my main issue with them was just like, as long as I don't spend too much money on them, it's like, fine, these are probably going to get lost. But the biggest issue is I get 10 feet away, or like 10 feet into my walk, then it's just like, beep, boop, disconnected. Like, you were just connected, though. Like, boop, boop. Yeah, I don't know what to do. Like, well, you only do one thing. There's no interference. It's just a phone and the headphones. Like, just connect. I'm already walking. And then it's like, nope. And then I'm walking around feeling crazy because I'm like, I've got headphones in my pocket. I've got a bunch of music in my pocket. And I have no way to get it into my head without being one of these jerks that's just walking around blaring their music out to the world. And I refuse to be one of those jerks. Figure out a way. Just a little bit. The microphone arm is right in front of the lights, but not completely. What do I look like? Is there a rough me under here I can trace? Facing the wrong way. So yeah, I watched Wakanda Forever. Oh wow, so good. I feel super bad that everyone hates the new Ant-Man. I haven't seen it. MODOK definitely looks weird, like weirder than MODOK. Like MODOK should look weird, but it just looks like a weird stretched camera effect as opposed to a cool, crazy, weird, giant MODOK head creature. But Wakanda Forever, and again, people said basically the same thing about the Marvel Multiverse of Madness featuring Doctor Strange and friends. And I loved that movie. Like, I've already watched it like twice. But, the problem with Wakanda Forever, if I can call it a problem, it's not a problem. It's done well, and that's the issue. Is from beginning to end, just so many great scenes, so many great characters. But it also feels like, when you're throwing on a movie on a Saturday or Sunday morning, you think like, oh, I'm just gonna curl up under the blankets, eat some breakfast junk food, and watch a long, crazy movie of super powered people jumping around and doing stuff. And then it's just like basically like, starts with, and minute one, it's just like, oh yeah. I mean, I knew they had to kill off Black Panther, and of course it's going to happen right away. But then it's also like, oh, this kind of feels like very, very related to the actual death of Chadwick Boseman. So it's just, that's immediately very sad. Then it's just very funerally, and then other characters die, and it's all characters you care about and grow to care about within the movie, and other stuff happens, so that like throughout the one movie, it really does feel like you've been to at least 3 to 6 funerals. Not that many characters die, but there's just so many of these sequences where it's like, that's really, really well done. Everyone dealing with the death of this character scene. And then it's just like, well, let's deal with the death of this character again. And in the case of one of the characters, you also know that the real person who played that character is also actually dead. And knowing that, the people playing the characters within this movie, they all definitely thought just as highly of Chadwick Boseman as the characters they're portraying. The characters that they are portraying, love King T'Challa. So it's just like, oh, is this get to some weird fun Fishman nonsense, can we? And just like, here's the sad story of the Fishman. Like, oh, poor Fishman. But I don't know. Again, in the end, it's awesome. It's just awesome. But yeah, exactly. Like, I haven't watched a lot of the Marvel stuff. Any of the Star Wars stuff I haven't bothered with. I hear it's good, but I just don't care enough. Captain Army has got it's cool to be sad, mug, cool to be, it's cool to be sad. Captain Army bought a mug. It says it's cool to be sad, it's cool to be. It's got a little platypus on it, 'cause it's cool to be sad, and platypuses are rad. Not that he sees me singing this, he's over at the store buying stuff while the stream is happening. But yeah, it's like, I loved Ant-Man 2, Ant-Man and the Wasp. I still have not seen Ant-Man 1. I just don't care. I want to, but at the same time, I'm like, I've already seen this movie 1,000 times. Well, the counter didn't move. The viewer counter didn't move, so I don't know. Who am I to judge? I can't tell. Sometimes the numbers don't reflect how many people are actually watching the stream. Like, I've watched plenty about the first Ant-Man movie that I'm like, yeah, I get it. Still, it's like too much origin, too much the same guy fighting the same guy. Like, yep, Iron Man 1. We saw it. You guys nailed it. It was great. And, it gets tiring unless it's somebody, it's a character I really care about. And I never cared too much about Ant-Man anyway. But the Quantum Verse of Madness, I was looking forward to it. I still kind of am. Even though everything I've seen is kind of like, okay, I get it. You guys got to make the movies. And, people are getting more and more involved now, so they're just getting crazier. Which, again, isn't a bad thing, because the crazier they get, the more closer we get to, like, hey, let's put them in the actual costumes. Let's use their actual backstories and things about them. So it's about these actual comic book characters the comic book nerds came to see. But yeah, Wakanda Forever, so good. Again, like Shuri in the first movie was amazing, just as good in this movie. The Captain of the Guards lady, whose name I can't remember, just love her. Just so good, so good. So again, just believable. Like everybody's somehow believable. But again, there's still that one big plot hole in all of these movies now. That is, oh my God, we're being attacked by a whole army of a whole new regime of people from below the sea. What should we do? If only we knew a slew of superheroes. You want to call any of them? Remember, you all work together. This is my movie, which is how it should be. That's what we're showing up for, is for this character. But then, in the overall story, it's kind of like, you guys were so gung-ho to join up in this movie, and now you're like, we got this. We're totally out of our league. We're not a water people. We're going to deal with this. But, we definitely should seek some other help here. But beginning to end, thoroughly, completely and unabashedly enjoyed the Wakanda Forever. One thing that actually, like, the other thing was like, yes, it's sad. There's so many sad parts, just really making you think about death left, right, and center. But the only, like, jarring thing is Martin Freeman's voice. Maybe I mentioned this last week already. Again, Martin Freeman, another person just like, be in every movie. Be in every movie, be everywhere. You're great, and again, usually super believable. Except he doesn't talk enough for me to get used to the fact that, he's an American in this movie. When it's like, it's so weird. You're like basically the most American person in both of the Black Panther movies. And, I don't know. It's like, did you guys run out of American actors to play somebody who that's his whole thing? Is that like, I'm an American guy. Hey, what's going on here, fellas? I'm American. And every single time he starts to talk, it jars me, where I'm like, whoa, why is he doing that? Why is he doing that voice? I don't think it's a bad voice. It's fine. It's not like, here's my American voice. Like, first Doctor Strange movie was just like, I can barely handle watching this movie, and I did fall asleep because it was also kind of boring. Second Doctor Strange, did that exist? No, that was Multiverse of Madness. I guess I'm thinking of when he was in Thor and Avengers. I was like, oh, there we go. I'm fully on board with his American voice, but for the first one, it's so grates on me with just the hello, I am Dr. Stephen Strange. My name is Stephen Strange. I'm from New York City. I live down here in New York City, where I've always lived. I'm a New Yorker. I'm a New York doctor and a surgeon. I'm one of the best surgeons. Look at my expensive watch. I'm just like, why does this guy look and sound like he's just learning to talk? And again, Benedict Cumberbatch, always amazing. Never don't enjoy him, but for some reason, I guess I also don't know enough about Doctor Strange. I think I just always pictured him having like a British voice. So I just assumed he was going to be a Benedict Cumberbatch done up to be Doctor Strange when the first movie came out. Then he's just like, hello, I'm Steven. My name is Steven. Like, why aren't you British? Just be British. Oh my god. If out of all of the characters that could have a crazy accent, go with the mystical magic guy? CC! I'm not going to try to pronounce the rest of your name again. We established your CC. I'm also CC, but I never go by that as well. Those are just my initials. But the Martin Freeman one, I've fully gotten used to Cumberbunds. doing his voice. But yeah, Martin Freeman just doesn't say enough, so that every time he talks, it's just like, is he undercover? Is he ever? Could he just? I kind of just wish he'd be like, oh, guess what? Guess what? Wakandan friends, I have a little secret. I've been keeping your secrets. Here's a little secret for you guys to keep. Chip and Chip and Perio, Pip and Cheerio and all that. I'm quite British. Look away, Meryl, look away. Hopefully you can just barely hear the music in the background, so I'm not just jiving to myself. Are you making angry faces over here? Sometimes my eyebrows go up, sometimes my eyebrows go down. Don't you worry about it. Just whatever emotions I'm having inside, just because they show on the outside sometimes, it doesn't mean that everything revolves around you, alright? Sometimes you're just angry for the sake of being angry. I'm angry that this cup isn't full enough. I'm angry that the cup isn't empty enough. I'm angry that you still haven't given me a new hat in the longest time. There's so many reasons to just be randomly angry throughout the day. Have you read Twitter? Have you ever seen American Twitter? It's crazy. Have you seen Canadian Twitter? Also crazy. Everyone's real angry, and I'm climbing on board that bus, and we're, dig, next stop, Angry Town, and it has nothing to do with you at all, whatsoever. Alright, as long as it has nothing, as long as, I'm just talking, sometimes you make an angry face. Oh, no, deep down, yes, I do hate you, and I will wish to destroy you, like we said when the stream was starting. I will destroy all of you, and I will be, the king, the emperor of whatever it is that's going on at any given time. Someday, somehow, someway, I'm going to make it all right, but not right now. Someday, somehow. I don't know the rest of the words. Is that Nickelback? I think that's a Nickelback.
Yeah, don't forget to include me in all of your malice and chicanery, because I'm here for that, always. But again, remember, I will double-cross you, you will double-cross me, and we will, wreak havoc, basically. Dogs chasing bones and that, Joker fellow hanging out the side of a police car. Good times, good times. Yeah.
Anyway, Milo always wakes up and chooses to fight. All cats do. All cats do. Once again, I should have made some notes. Well, one of the notes I didn't quite write down, but now it's become the premise for this comic strip, so it's like, well, I can't quite talk about that. Then it ruins the strip. What kind of stuff do you stream, CC? Shisatu? Shisatu? No, everybody seems to be streaming this Creepy Forest game. Not that, I don't watch streams almost ever, but do see everybody's posts about this creepy game. You get a stick, and you can beat things with it, and creepy things happen. But like I said, I've just been getting, I just got into playing some of that Hang In There. Is that what it's called? But whatever, it's like, you're just controlling the arms, and you have little hands, and you just try to get from point A to point B by swinging and climbing on things, and Mario Karting. And I spent money on Fortnite so that my character is a xenomorph alien, and I'll still play a round or two of Fortnite alien fun. So lazy today. I just want to copy and paste my way to the end of this comic strip. Oh, man. All right. I'm gonna copy and paste this down here. I'll make a new frame. Yeah, I didn't accomplish anything this weekend, which isn't a bad thing. It's not my job to accomplish anything during the weekend. I did a work stream for a few hours on Friday. I did a logo design for somebody, and although it still took me like the whole 3.5, 4 hours, whatever it is, that's how long it should take to do one drawing. It's somewhat insane that I occasionally do 2 or 3 in the matter of a few hours. But I always feel it's more fun and crazy to get a lot of things done. Quantity over quality. That's what they always say. I'm pretty sure they say the complete opposite of that. But even if they don't, I'm here to say the complete opposite of anything that you say. Because, that is my bread and or butter. Unless you're looking for some bread and butter, in which case I will say that is my peanut butter and jam, sir. I mean, you're real good at disagreeing. I can't fault you for that. But what if you were trying to get good at agreeing, guys? Bros, it's cool to agree sometimes, right? And just be friendly and help each other out. Why not try teamwork instead of being jerks at work, huh? What about that, you guys? Yeah, no. I choose that you're a jerk and you're stupid and I hate you, Ted. And like I said, one of these days, I'll climb up on that desk and I will drag that painting of you off the wall. Talking paintings? I mean, cartoon characters, that's one thing. Talking action figures, that's a whole other thing. But talking paintings, we're really going to allow that kind of stuff? I thought we were, against all the Harry Potterisms. We're just done with stuff like that. He's not a ghost, all right? He's not a ghost in a picture. It's not the painting of a dead cat. You're technically a painting of a dead cat, really. If we want to, just split hairs. Meow, 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 meow. No, that's not why I call you the sweetest angel, Ripley. You were always the sweetest angel, long before you were an actual, dead heaven angel. Meow, meow. Yep, that's super morbid and unnecessary. I've lost my train of thought. This guy threw me off with his saying the opposite of things, so I don't remember. I don't remember where I was about to go with whatever it is I was about to say.
Yeah, perfect. More chaos, more deterioration of your state of mind, please and thank you.
You know what? I'm digging this guy. I think I will team up with him. I'm really into the madness that this guy throws out into the world from his weird little skeleton face. I remember now. Shut up. Yeah, I've still got an unstarted Orko painting right here. I was going to say like a foot away, but I'm touching it right now. So I feel like I still did a lot at work as I do. But on the weekend, I'm usually like, oh, I want to work on a painting, or I want to animate something. I want to do some kind of my own art thing. Excuse me. But just last night, my friend Brian was like, hey, is this a good idea? Would you be interested in doing something like this? And I'm like, yes, that's a fun idea. I won't talk about it or give it away now. But basically, I have this stuff that I did. Would you like to draw on it and like have your cat make fun of it? I'm like, yes, please. I mean, that's exactly what it is. I don't want to give it away what it is, but this is what it is. What are you, a Red Hot Chili Pepper? You're just giving it away now? What you got to give it to your mother? Is that what's happening right now? Kind of. That's still not the exact details, but yes, it's fun to draw on other people's stuff. Do I like a better redder? I think I like a better redder. So how do I want to draw this hand? But I still managed to accomplish like a good deed for the week, which I kind of haven't really done many of those in a while. But without singling anybody out, somebody was like, like, hey, did you work enough this month or this week to afford both rent and food? And they're kind of like, no, probably have to like sell my TV or whatever. Like, no. So I went and got like a bunch of grocery store gift cards. Like, here, like, please eat. And if you don't have food, like, just tell me. Like, I'll always help you out with food. Like, no big deal. So it's like, I wish I could say, like, that felt good to do a good deed. And mostly was just like, come on, Twitter universe people. Like, why are so many, like, political people just fighting to keep people poor and cold and unhoused and unfed while making record profits somehow? This is just, like, it just affects so many people. So, like, I did that. Gave away a piece of furniture, replaced it with a lamp that stands up in the corner of the room instead of having a little table with the modem's on and then having an end table with a lamp on it. It's just like, there's too much stuff over here. I just got rid of all of it. I got a lamp that has some little shelves on it, jam the modem on there. The lamp is the lamp, so I don't need a table for the lamp, and there's already a bunch of other tables around. So everybody wins. Everybody wins. What was there to lose? That what you're saying makes no sense. I mean, it was just inconvenient for me to go look out the window, basically. But, that did make me feel like I kind of accomplished something. Like, I technically cleaned something up. I did a little bit of tidying and cleaning throughout the apartment. But I didn't, like, make anything. I didn't art anything. I did a little bit of doodling, but I was like, I don't really feel like finishing something because I feel like, I should go work on this painting or one of these other projects that I wanted to work on. So, as per usual, the more I want to do several different things, the more I end up just like wrapped up under blankets, doing none of the things, just falling asleep watching random YouTube people make stuff, usually. Because a lot of the times, watching people on YouTube make things, even if it's something outside the realms of my making things, i.e., like, I'm building a robot, or I'm building some sort of machine to do a thing, or whatever, it's like, this is crazy. And as long as there's fun, they're funny, like, I'm on board. But at a certain point, I was like, oh yeah, in going to get the gift certificates, I was like, and then I might as well do the thing that I mentioned just last week on the other stream, that I really want to try out Procreate for the iPad. It sounds great, it looks great, I've heard zero complaints about this thing, and it's, it's not expensive at all. I mean, I thought it was like $9, and it was like $17, which is still, for a whole, like, very robust drawing painting program, that's dirt cheap. It's not, a subscription. It's just buy it and you have it. So, I got an iTunes gift card because I don't want to give Apple my credit card information again. I got rid of my last credit card, and now I have like different account info. And the less places I give it to, the more safe I feel in the world. About, my privacy and backing and whatnot. So, get a gift card, buy it, load it up, look at it, and within, like, 2 minutes, I'm still drawing stuff, and it's very easy to figure out. Like, if you've used any other programs, it's basically the same, if not very, like, refined in a nice way where it's like you're not clicking around forever. Like, the IBIS paint is what I've been using. IBIS paint. And I like it. I really like it. I didn't pay for, the full thing. but it's got lots of brushes. You can grab more brushes just by watching some ads. But with the Procreate, all of the base brushes are fantastic. The line quality is really nice. And I'd say, yeah, like within like 2 to 5 minutes, I feel like I know how to use this. Like, wow, this is very intuitive. It's not cluttered. It's pretty great. I can't complain about it. And you can animate in it. And it's got like some nice onion skinning. You basically just have to redraw it, and there is like motion tweens. It's not like a robust animation program. But just to sit down and kind of doodle some just nonsense animation, it's perfect. Like, I've tried to download so many different like iPad animation programs, just so it's like I just sometimes just want to doodle as if I'm, flipping paper and draw a few frames and just make them move for no reason without having to sit at my computer, set everything up. And it's perfect for that. Except I was just like, well, there's a little more to this. I've seen people, their videos of them drawing with Procreate, and it's like, it's snapping and smoothing out the lines, and it was like, how are they doing this? Mine's not doing this. It's drawing exactly as I draw. And, there we go. So I throw on YouTube, and I'm just like, Procreate tutorials. I was just like, Procreate animation tutorial, like show me just how robust this animation feature can be, because there's always more to all of these things than meets the eye. The animation changes into a car and into a plane and flies into the stars. Optimus Prime could fly the entire time through the course of 7 movies. Surprise. Those movies sucked. Yeah, so first I watched, I'm about to agree with your last comment, CC. So first I watched a animation tutorial, it was only 5 minutes long, but I'm just like, get to the animation part. And she's like, hey, I'm going to show you how to do some animation. Like, all right, so first we're just going to draw like this lemon. So, we'll draw this shape, then we'll fill that in, and then we'll make like a shading mask over here, then we'll add like our shading colors on here, then we'll just add this, kind of detail, because that makes it look more like a lemon. I'm like, why are you giving me so many tips on how to draw a lemon? You haven't once mentioned anything about animation. What's going on? And eventually I just got tired of it and skipped ahead to where it seemed like she was just showing me the exact thing that was like, that I know that much about animation, like just make separate frames and then I just have this, the juice from the lemon squirting out or whatever. Like, are you kidding me? I just watched you give so much detail on how to draw a lemon, which is still just like a cartoon clip art lemon, and then the animation part of this anime. You're the one who makes the titles of this video. It wasn't somebody else going, I don't know, I guess it's like an animation tutorial. No, this is how I draw a lemon tutorial. So then I watched another one that was like, animating in the thing, and it was just the basics that I knew, or it was like, this is as much as it can do. There you go. I'm like, okay, that's all I needed to know. But what are all of these other things? I've seen people smooth their lines, like CC says. And then I watched another video that was like, hey, 100 tips for Procreate in 15 minutes. You're going to need all 100 of these tips. They're all very important and great. All right, plays out. The first, 15, 20 are just like, yep, that's all stuff that was just very apparent and simple and easy. I got all that just by opening up the program. And then they were like, oh, and if you want a nice circle, just hold down, you draw a circle, and just don't take the pen off the paper, and then you can, modify your circle. And it's just like, oh my god, this is amazing. And then, have a straight line, and you can crank up the smoothness or whatever, so you can do that thing where people are drawing, but they're kind of like just bending this line, where it was like, ooh, I don't quite want that. but somewhere in between there, I was like, this is just right, because I'm still somewhat shaky of an artist. Like, I need to put my hand down on the tablet to draw. I'm not a get everything right in the first go type of person. I'm just human. I'm just doing the best I can, and Sean Connery, I realize, yes, losers whine about their best. Super dehydrated. Definitely need to drink some more water. So anyway, within the 100 tips, there were so many where it's like, oh, just flick here, and all of a sudden you got yourself, your coloring mask. And do this, and I missed a bunch of them where I was just like, wait, what? That seemed really important, because I was just like doodling this little fish, just barely animated, like his tail going back and forth slightly. But I was just like had a bit of fun with that, and I watched just some other tutorials or just tips on Procreate, and then later in the day, this is where it comes back around to like feeling productive. Somewhere later on in the day, I was just like, well, I got some stuff done today. Like I did that thing, but didn't quite register in my mind. What was the thing that you did today? Doesn't matter. I'm gonna go play a round of Mario Kart, and then I'll do something else or whatever, or watch something. And I'm just like, wait. What did I accomplish today? Like, I put the dishes away? I cleaned the bathtub? But didn't I feel like didn't I, like, take a course or something? I was like, oh yeah, I watched a handful of YouTube videos and I downloaded Procreate and somehow converted that in my head of, oh, you were super productive today. Like, you learned a new thing. Like, I barely learned anything. I learned a few tips for doodling on my iPad in a slightly different way than I doodled on my iPad before. I'm pretty sure, yeah, you can get all kinds of different brushes. Like, I've barely even looked at the brushes that were there, so I'm like, this is more than enough for me. Like, when I Photoshop, I have like 1, maybe 2 extra brush sets that I've gotten, and like I don't use Photoshop at all, very often. Usually just to, like, I'll draw something in Flash into this program, have it all nice and smooth, then I'll throw it over into Photoshop and distress it with some brushes and whatnot to make things look rougher or a little more brushy or painty or something. But I usually like to start with a nice solid vector drawing because it's kind of, it's just always perfect. It's always perfect. Oh my god. See, you saying my 7-year-old daughter has blown my mind. Like, I pictured you as I don't know, I'm going to say, like a 17-year-old, 19-year-old maybe. You're just like, doo-doo-doo, I like playing games and streaming. And again, and to back up my own words, or to explain why I think that, is I think that about everybody. I'm always surprised, like, my beard is getting grayer by the day. What I have to do, Miles, is get better at using Illustrator so I can do lettering in there. I got some designs that I have to work on this week that are all just like text, and every time I try to do like, ooh, let's put some of this text on a shape. Let's do this. I watch the videos. It seems simple, but I'm just like, Illustrator, why won't you just cooperate ever? Why do I always feel like I have to fight with Illustrator? Is that why you keep calling me Illustrator? Not because I'm the grader, I'm the illustrator, I'm here, the demonstrator. I'll show you how to drop some dope lives and draw some things that are super divide. I'm the illustrator. There ain't no one greater. Everyone watch all my pens will draw straighter. Yeah, no. I call you illustrator because you were uncooperative. Oh man. But yeah, no, like I think of everyone, like even like Miles, like Seventh Dementia there in my head. Miles is still like just, you know, a teenager, even though when I was one of his instructors in school, I think he was closer to my age anyway. Like I know he's younger than me, but all of his like TV references are like from when I was a kid and stuff. And so many people, I'm just like do like I'm old now, and everybody else seems like they're 15. Like my friend CTK is exactly the same age as me, and I still always look at her like, well, let me tell you, like, old people like me, we used to have to do this, just like Curtis. We are the exact same age. Like, yeah, but you don't know any Smurf references. Oh, man. I'm just raised by TV. All my references are stuff you can see from the 90s and the 80s. I raised myself on the TV. That's okay for me. Snorks. Alf. Yeah, I think so. But like everybody in that class, like even Aggie, no offense, but it's like I know that she was the oldest in the class because that was her whole jam. It still was just like, Aggie, like you're still, you know, you might as well like feel like you're 22 because you're all like 19 to 20 to me. And I think because it was like I think she was older than me actually. I can't remember, but it's still just like, sorry, like now that I'm in teacher mode, other than the days when other teachers are coming in and be like, so you guys don't have a teacher today? Should I make a call? And like, Brian, I'm right here. Oh yes, you. Like, I've been to your house, Brian. I've been to your house. I'll punch you. I'll punch you in your... No, I won't. But I'll threaten quietly when I'm miles and miles away. So yeah, anyway, that's what I felt productive about on the weekend was I downloaded a program to my iPad and I watched a handful of videos that explained just how simple and easy it is to use that program. And then didn't draw much. Who can I switch to? I'm gonna go grab my iPad real quick. I'm sure it should be saved. I don't like using the BRB. Ripley, sit there and blink for a minute. And forgot to switch the camera back. Oh, I said and there like I was really... Oh, yes. And the other Procreate thing, I haven't tried it yet, but you can just like also just use it as a drawing tablet, which is amazing. And have it on your actual monitor screen or whatever. So it's just like this thing is robust. Yeah, I'm gonna hit play on this. There we go. So this is the very first thing I did on Procreate. Out of the way, Milo. Oh, the camera's over here. Just a little whatchamacallit, watercolor brush, just seeing how that feels, and just did some frames. Just hit the Do you want to animate? Yes, I would like to animate. And, oh, I forgot if I showed off bonus stage. What is bonus stage? Did you make a game? Why did everything change? Do you need an Elgato to stream? Because I've got the Elgato, whatever HD whatchamacallit. But that's just like I've got the PlayStation and the Nintendo running into that, and then to stream from drawing, I just screen cap, well, my drawing screen, or if there's a few times I've done something, I can't remember what it was. Oh yes, Windows. Oh, maybe you did then. I can never remember any old Flash cartoons. Go to the gallery. And this is the other thing I did. It's just a few frames. It's just a fish. That's it. Just a little loop of a fish. I was just gonna mess around and just like see about the painting it. Because the other thing too, I was like, ooh, people just paint by just like, would they grab the color and just drag and drop it into the thing? I'm like, what? And so then I just did that and I was like, okay, I figured that out. But the one thing I was just like, it was on the color picker for the longest time. I'm like, I don't know what this is. What are these crosshairs doing? How do I get rid of them? And then watching the tutorials, I'm like, oh, so to get the paint picker, the color picker, you just gotta like hold down with like your finger, and then it pops up, or press the little box on the side. I was like, those are the only real things that I couldn't quite figure out. But I still do need to go back and watch something for how did they make a masking layer to paint on. Quite sure it was a simple flick to the side or what have you, but at that point I was busy messing with making straight lines and perfect-ish circles to see that, like, ooh, with this brush I could still have it look kind of sketchy, but yet I can still hold it down and make perfect circles, so this still doesn't quite look perfect, but it is perfect. Oh, this is great. This is great news. And then I watched Guy Montgomery spelling bees until I fell asleep again. But definitely compared to the, like, Photoshop for iPad, I don't know if they've updated it at all, but it's garbage. It's absolute garbage, the portable version. I was very surprised. I think I just threw it on my iPad because I was like, ooh, in case I do want to, take a photo and just kind of like Photoshop something together just for fun. Why not throw that on there? And it's just like, it's got so few features, and all of these other programs just have so many more than Photoshop. But it's just like, but you're Photoshop. You're Photoshop. Like, people subscribe to you, and or it's also like, people are paying money for this mobile Photoshop, and it's just, oh, it's so borderline useless. And the things about it that are useful, they're just not intuitive, not, I don't know, everything feels like, oh, just click through 15 menus before you get to it. I'm like, oh, I feel like I haven't had to go this deep into menus since I was doing like old-timey 3D, like, before Titanic came out. So many. Oh, so many menus. There we go. That was like in my head. I had done like, oh, I did some anime. Like I made a film today. Like, no, you didn't. You drew 7 frames, and 90% of them are just trace-offs of the last frame, just to make the lines look like they're boiling. But it proved to myself, like, well, that's there now. That's just sitting on the coffee table. Whenever I feel like it, I can do this thing. And I can plug the iPad in if it's low on battery and still draw on it because I moved all that lamp stuff that I talked about earlier. But I don't know. Anything I could do, I just keep trying to come up with more reasons to make stuff. I think mine's basically the same reason, CC, that I wanted to be able to digitally draw stuff without drawing with my finger on my phone, which is garbage. And I'd seen just the power of the Apple Pencil and the iPad, and I was like, this would be great if I can carry this around and I like it as much as I think that I do. But then I just downloaded, a few other just free programs, and they were really fun. Like, they were really fun and easy to use, and free. So it was just like, yeah, I'm going to do this. And even though it was just like, I should just get Procreate. Like, I can see, like, comic book artists that I know and don't know, they're just drawing comics in Procreate. Like, I think, Todd McFarlane and stuff like that. I think that they use Procreate and stuff. And I'm like, what's going on? Like, what do you mean you're sitting at a cafe somewhere, working on an actual comic book or production art on an iPad? Like, that's bananas. Like, that's what really convinced me. And literally not until I talked about it on Friday's stream at Streamlabs, where I was like, you know what? It is, like, it's less than $20. Like, why don't I just get it? I've already got the pen. I've already got the pad. Let's go all the way. And I do not regret it. I do not regret it. I feel like I learned something over the weekend, though. Again, I gotta get back into taking notes. I used to always just have a notepad with me, and I always just start writing down stuff, and I'm like, well, now my phone is a notepad, and I do realize that my phone is full of notes. Just most of them are like... Here's a fun little story to monologue about on a stream or whatever. Exactly. I mean, I feel like that's the one of the best things to try and hold on to. I mean, here's something that I kind of learned from just taking in the world. The whole Scott Adams thing, where, if anybody doesn't know, Scott Adams is the guy that writes Dilbert comics, which were never good. They were never good. They were never funny. I remember when it first came out, or when it first became a big thing, and it was just like, wow, like, I want to get into this, because it's like, it's a weird, kind of quirky comic strip about a guy talking to his animals or whatever, but he goes to work, and like, this should be my bread and butter, and it's just like, I don't get this. This is not good. Is this supposed to be good? And years passed, and I had thought that Dilbert was gone for years. I don't know if I thought that guy died, or if he just stopped doing it. But it was just like, everybody, nobody likes Dilbert, right? Like, this guy isn't still, making money hand over fist on Dilbert, right? And then, recently you just find out, like, he has? Like, he's still been... What? So then I learned that, exactly, he's not only lost all of his Dilbert jobs from just being blatantly racist, or just like, the things that he said were just like, no, guys, like, if I could just explain my racism for a minute, I think you'll understand that my racism is warranted. We should hate each other. If you don't hate each other, then we're doing it wrong. So there you go. Anyway, buy my books. Everyone loves me. I'm Scott Adams. Like, there's a lot of people that I don't hate, especially not based on their race. Like, what did you think was going to happen? Did you really think, like, do you think that everybody is mostly runs on the ideology that it is just like white people are in charge of doing stuff, and then there's all the other people? So as long as you're this affluent white creator, then you say and do whatever you want. We're going to keep pushing you forward. Like, obviously they're still pushing some JK towards everybody, but then, yeah, it came out, he admitted himself, he's like, this is like the third job or the fourth job I've lost for these reasons. Like, in my whole life, like, other jobs besides writing comics, he has lost, and it's just like, all because people just, think my racism isn't cool. Like, that's because it's not cool. Are you crazy? And the answer is yes, you're completely crazy. He said some awful things outside of his racism as well. His wife left him. His friends leave him. He's not a good person. Okay. It's just like, what did I do? Copy and pasted some stuff. Did I leave it in the ether for too long? So, I am amazed. Like, I am 100% amazed at how people can do and say something that is just like, you know what world we live in, right? Like, no matter how right you are, or how right you think you are, being a hateful jerk is definitely not the right thing. And again, especially when so many of these people are like, like the Bible says this, and we're trying to get back to our Christian ideology. Like, excuse me, the lady who wants the country to divorce from itself? So that you can maintain the sanctity of marriages and all of your right-wing supposedly religious ideology. how is it all of your things that to fix the thing are the opposite of all the things you supposedly believe in? Like, and there's just so much of that going on. It's just like, my head. What I take away from the Scott Adams thing, and no, they did not. Remember my little cousin when he was a small boy. My grandmother was like, "You're going to church," and he was like, "Yeah, no, I'm not doing that." She's like, "What do you mean?" He's like, the Bible. He's like, "Yeah, no, I finally sat down and I read the Bible, and I don't agree with a lot of this. This is craziness. I'm not doing that." Like, oh, and that was her takeaway was, because, again, my grandmother's great. I love her. This is from a long time ago. But she was just like, oh, like, he read the Bible. Like, who reads the Bible? Like, I think it just became that meme face. If your whole deal is trying to get him to go to church and he read, it's just like, that's like going to getting the teacher's edition of the book and reading, learning everything before the teacher teaches it to you. Like, knowing stuff beforehand is fine. It's not illegal. What? So, like, you're mad at him because he did take the time to try to get into this religion and realized, yeah, this is a mess and maybe you should get out of this religion. I think they're messing with you. So, went too far into tangent land. But pulling back slightly, what I learned from the Scott Adams thing is never give up. Never give up. Keep doing that thing that you do, because even if you're the biggest, dumbest, stupidest, most horrible idiot in the world, you still basically get to do that thing that you like to do. So it's like, oh, you want to make comics? Go for it. You want to modify emotes? I was going to say emojis, emotes, emoticons. If you want to modify your emojis with whatever program you want, like, go for it. You want to make collages? You want to fill walls with collages? That's fine. Like, I can't think of any actual dumb ideas, but if this guy can be this just idiotic on a public scale, then I shouldn't feel so bad. I shouldn't feel so, unprofessional enough, unaccomplished enough to be like, I'm going to make comic strips and I'm going to talk about what I think about on the internet. Like, yeah, go for it. Like, have you learned in so much of your life not to be a complete piece of garbage? Like, yeah, well, then even better. CTK, you're supposed to be asleep by now. You've got an early morning, you said. But the sideways tangent, the offshoot of thinking about this stuff, also got me kind of thinking about some of the other horrible people. And then the weird connectivity, because News Radio was a great show. It was like just one of the best shows in a long time. Phil Hartman just at the top of his game, being an amazing character. Maura Tierney, is that her name? Just awesome character. Dave Foley, being Dave Foley, it's just like amazing character. And Vicki Lewis, I think her name is. I don't know why all these names are popping into my head. Also just doing amazing on that show. But then, just to have a weird cosmic overlay of things, the cosmic cube connection. News Radio was where Joe Rogan started, and it was just like, and I mean, seems like a good chunk of those people, like Dave Foley, definitely super funny guy, love him, but also like, your personal life is definitely a mess. Like, you clearly definitely have a bunch of ex-wife stories where you're like, they should have left and I'm garbage. And it's just like, awesome. At least you're aware that you should be a better person. And I'm sure most of it was like, hey, drinking problems. But that's where Joe Rogan started, and you thought it was like, oh, he's an adorable, lovable, fixin' guy. And I think like he didn't like playing that character. It was like, that was the only time I liked you in your whole life. So it's like, whatever. Like, he's there, and now he's saying dumb stuff all the time. Like, professionally just saying dumb stuff all the time. And it's like, all right, fine, that happens. But at a certain point, or for a while, I think was his name Andy on the show? Is his real name Andy? Or is that the one name I can't think of? I know you know who I'm talking about, Miles. The guy with the glasses. Again, he has the most drug problems. Always just, we're not gonna do this show anymore. I was always rooting for him though. Andy Dick, there we go. I was always rooting for him because it's like he's definitely he's off kilter and he's crazy, but for the longest time, like, but he's not like a harmful, awful maniac. And now, like, whatever. I think he's, on his final arrest where it's like, no, you're actually arrested now. You can't be doing the things that you do. Which is like, he's doing terrible things, but his character, yes, it was, Matthew. So Matthew on the show was obsessed with Dilbert. He was obsessed with Dilbert, and at a certain point, I think Scott Adams was on the show, but they convinced him that this guy over here was Scott Adams, and that guy convinced Matthew whatever they needed him to know or whatever. They're like, well, what if Scott Adams told you? And he's like, oh, of course, like, I'll believe anything that guy says. And in my mind, in my memory, in my own personal zeitgeist, that's like a wholesome, happy memory that I have, was just like, oh, Matthew just being so obsessed with Dilbert and all of this stuff, and they kept saying the actual comic artist's name, where I'm like, wow, like, can you imagine, like, some TV show someday, maybe, like, what if they're mentioning me and my characters as a reference point on some TV show that I really like with characters that I think are great. And then, yeah, it's like, I mean, Batman rules apply. Like, you either, you die a hero or you live long enough to become the villain. And several of those people lived long enough to become the villain. And I mean, even in Phil Hartman's case, it's just like, it's like the curse of news radio, where he was just like straight up murdered by his wife, and it's just like, what world do we live in? Is this all because of news radio? I haven't seen Jimmy James in anything in a while, but I'm pretty sure, I feel like it's safe to believe he's still being a good person out there. But yeah, I'm pretty sure, I believe that, yeah, Andy Dick is once again locked up for assault or something worse. But again, I don't know. I think that's a lot of people's motivation for doing things. I'm trying my best to get out of the mode where I'm like, ooh, I need to make art, I need to make characters, comics, animations for the sake of, like, getting myself out there. And it's just like, no, not really. I much rather live in a world where it's like I get to just be myself and make things and occasionally post them. I don't I no longer try, and which is obvious, I no longer try to make sure to post something every day on an Instagram or whatever. It's just like, nope. If I feel like posting something I've done, I will. I'm not trying to be an influencer. I'm not trying to be an internet person or whatever. I'm just like, I like my job. I like what I do there. And I like just making stuff without having to compete with the rest of the internet. Like a friend of mine, she just posted there, which is like, hey guys, like, I appreciate all of the support everyone has given me over the years, but I'm not doing commissions anymore. I've tried really hard not to compare myself to the other artists on the internet, and I can't. I can't not compare myself. And it's just like, yep, I completely know what you mean. Like, every time I open up the internet, I'm either comparing myself to, ooh, this is a horrible person. I'm going to go try and be nice to people today so I can be the opposite of that. Or, wow, that person's amazing. I'll never amount to that level as an artist or just as a person or whatever. But it's just, taking everything as whatever kind of challenge you want to take it as to make yourself a better person or to feel good about yourself. But, like, I basically told her, I was like, yep, like, that's fine. I was like, I haven't done commissions in a long time. I don't know I don't have a commission style, really, unless somebody specifically wants something that I do, then yeah, I could do that. But 90% of the time, commissions are like, ooh, I kind of thought you were going to do it like, these, like, oil paintings or whatever. Like, no, I'm going to do it like what I do. That's why the pictures that I showed are the examples of what I do. And, specifically pointing out to her, I was like, I can't do what you do. Like, you do photorealistic stuff, and I do cartoony things. Like, she's, like, always super impressed. Like, oh, like, you just draw this stuff right out of your head out of nowhere. I was like, yep, sometimes. I was like, but I can't look at a photo like you and make it look like a real photo with whatever different medium you use. But in the end, I'm just like, either way, hopefully this doesn't mean that you're like, I'm just done being a creative person. I'm done with whatever. It's like, you still, at least within your own time, without comparison to anybody else, like, you still create. You still make music or whatever it is you want to do with your time. Like, I hope this doesn't shut you down from everything. Also knowing that it's just like, you're not going to be able to. I definitely have weeks, weekends, days where I'm just like, ugh, I can't. What am I doing? Who can, this is impossible. I'll never be good as blank. And I'll never have enough of a reach to be a commission person or whatever. Let's say, instead of doing a job and blah, blah, blah. And instead just trying to enjoy the ride. Like, who knows? Are meteors going to destroy us? Or are we going to destroy ourselves with economy? Or, everything's full of plastic. Like who knows? So, if you're just going to play pretend and enjoy nonsense, why compare yourself to other people's pretend nonsense? We're all just making stuff up as it goes. Yeah, exactly. CC, like, somebody asked me, I want to say last week now, maybe it was 2 weeks ago, asked me if I'd want to mentor, like, a young artist or whatever, and it's just like, no, like, I physically, mentally can't handle that anymore. For so many years, my job was just to look at other people's art and judge it. Like, this could be better this way, this could be better that way. When I really just want to go, like, yeah, it looks fun. Did you have fun doing it? Awesome. We all get paid to make cartoons here. Just make cartoons. But sadly, in production, and for TV or whatever, it's just like, well, we're all trying to do this one thing so that a certain amount of people can make a bunch of money or whatever. But yeah, and we just have to get used to being able to do what you do without judging others or judging yourself. Just having fun. Like, my mind flashes to playing horseshoes with adults. Like, it's just throwing a metal U or a rubber U, depending on if you got kids horseshoes or adult horseshoes, at a stick. That's all that it is. And then you're there with like your family or a group of people, and there's always somebody who's amazing, somebody who's okay, and then somebody who's terrible, and it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. But then somebody's just like, come on, we need this, like, you could win this, and you just gotta, like, who cares? Who cares? We're just in a backyard in summertime. Let's just enjoy throwing a metal U at a stick without putting so much pressure on each other, and then extrapolate that all over the world with, hey, whatever it is, drawing, improvising, planting plants, like, there's whatever. Like, sometimes when I throw on Mario Kart, I feel really bad about it because I'm not great at Mario Kart. It's very simple. There's not a whole lot to think about. I get better with drifting. But, like, I remember, like, when I used to play Mario Kart, I'd be using the brakes all the time. I'd constantly be having to back up and turn around. And I'm just like, I'm not doing that anymore. So that's something. And ultimately, who cares? It's just a bunch of imaginary characters. And although I am, I'll play against real people online, and so far, most of the time, I'm always way behind. Like, if I'm not last, I'm close to last. But the overall joy of playing Mario Kart is picking your favorite Peach character or whatever, and enjoying these crazy tracks. Like, especially all the new, like, Switch tracks are amazing, and there's lots of stuff going on in the background and stuff. It's just an enjoyable place to run around in. And same with when I Fortnite around. I spend a lot of it just running around in the woods. Like, if somebody comes up on me or I see somebody in the distance, like, yeah, I try to murder them or try not to get murdered by them. But overall, it's fun to be in these, just magical environments with weird character jumping and climbing on things and playing with weird weapons and whatnot. But somewhere in the back of my brain is just like the idea of somebody just being like, you're really going to be playing Mario Kart? Like, you definitely shouldn't be you definitely don't stream Mario Kart. Like, people will just think you're stupid because you're definitely not good enough. When you're going to play against other people, like, you're basically ruining other people's day because you're not enough of a challenge to offer anybody else a good time in Mario Karting. And also, half the time, I just do, like, the first or second race, and I'm like, that was good, and I leave before finishing the whole run anyway. But mostly it is just that thing of just, like, as if there's just somebody there in the back of your head always just being like, by the way, have you thought about maybe you're not any good at things? I don't know. Who would do that? who would just sit off to the side and constantly remind you that, hey, there's a good chance that you might be the worst at this thing in the world, and maybe you should never do it again. Who would do a thing like that? Who would be so adorable and have a cute little hat and a little bug to say, like, excuse me, you're kind of dumb, and your ideas are dumb, and why bother? Why bother? Who even cares? I mean, do you not even see? Do you not even realize? Oh, so you think that maybe there's other people out in the world that are just like on the edge of their seat waiting to treat you like a cat? Because there's probably not. There's lots of cats out there, and yes, all the cats hate all the people all the time. That's their thing. Except for those moments when it's just like, I'm in the mood to not hate you for a few minutes, then you're welcome. You're welcome for that bit of affection. But outside of that, yes, we are plotting your demise. We are thinking about eating your soul. We want to knock things over for the sake of knocking things over. But it's all just to remind you that we are better than you. That's it. So if you just get that in your stupid head for idiots, then you'll have a better life.
I could also remind you of things. I could call you a dundering boob. That's a thing we used to say back in 80s cartoons. And, an addle-pated dunderwit. Was that a thing? Am I mixing words? Either way, you're as dumb as Beast Man. And as, annoying as Ram Man. Yeah, references.
Thanks, Skeletor. Thanks. But in reality, most cats aren't plotting your death. They do just want your attention. Not as much as dogs, but, And even all of the people, when you post anything, I don't get a bunch of Twitter hate. I don't exist. But, even the, tens of thousands of millions of trolls that are just like, oh, hey, I noticed you posted something. Why don't you never do that again? You're stupid or whatever. It's just like, well, what do you do with your time? And you just go and look, and the only thing that they do is retweet other people's nonsense and then spend the rest of their time just hate tweeting at people. When it's just like, why is this how you decided to spend your time? Like with the last stop motion / painting nonsense that I made with Raphael, I did it, posted it on Instagram and Twitter. The end. Moved on to something else. And Amanda sends me a message like, hey, what's going on? Your Raphael painting is too good for TT? And I'm like, what are you even talking about? And I was like, oh, TikTok. And the real answer, this is basically what I said, was like, yes, it is. It was like, I just don't have the patience to open up TikTok. Like, the only reason I have a TikTok account still is because I have to do artwork designs for TikTok people, for TikTok streamers. And sometimes the only way to figure out what their deal is to go to their TikTok and watch stuff. So I've got a TikTok app still. But for the most part, I'm just like, I can't take it. I don't really watch Reels either. I look at Instagram mostly for still pictures and drawings of things. And then open up Twitter in case I need to know something about the world. But usually the thing to know about the world is like, by the way, everyone's still super hateful out here. Go draw some pictures instead. But yeah, I'm just like, no. I was like, a lot of times I'll make a video and I'll still throw it on Instagram, still throw it on TikTok. But I was just like, I just kind of just don't even want to anymore. Again, the more that I try to think about that, I'm just like, I'm not trying to synergize all of the social media and make sure I'm posting everywhere and being Posty McGee. It's just like, nope, I'll draw what I draw, I make what I'll make. I put it either on YouTube or Instagram, and then live stream talk about it on Twitch. And in mentioning that, I was like, oh yeah, I was like, but I haven't seen. I was like, do I have any views or comments or anything on my TikTok? It was just like, oh, I did have like 2 comments on some videos. I was like, oh, well, let's check out these TikTok comments. Like, what are these all about? And actually, I think these were the same comment. I think it was the same comment. Yeah, very true, CTK and CC. Most people are just screaming at themselves. Most people are just screaming at themselves on the internet and in the world. But so I went, and there's I want to say, I feel like it was two different comments, but I think it was just a 2-part comment. But yeah, in the stop motion I did where I'm playing with the T-Rex toy and giving it a little dog toy. But within the video, I'm reading a She-Hulk comic when the dinosaur starts to bother me. And one of the comments was, and I clicked on them to see, like, whenever somebody comments, I'm just like, and who are you and what is your deal? And it's just like, oh, you're like an 11-year-old. No offense, but your comments mean nothing to me. But the one comment was, hey, why are you so in love with She-Hulk? Like, I mean, I think the takeaway from this video is I love making dinosaur stuff, and I'm doing dinosaur stuff over here. I love stop motioning things and bringing action figures to life, and I'm mildly obsessed with action figures, but mostly with bringing them to life. Why are you so in love with She-Hulk? Like, the only cromulent answer to that question is why aren't you in love with She-Hulk? How is everybody not in love with She-Hulk? It's the funniest, just best character in the world. Like, it's just the best character ever. And it's like, I don't even read a huge range of stuff. I don't have a ton of She-Hulk comics. But it's still just like, why do you love this awesome thing? Because of the awesomeness. Because of the awesomeness. But then, I've got like a total of like 6 comments over, I don't know, however many, 50, 60 videos that I've posted there over the course of like a year or 2 or 3, however long I've had TikTok. Maybe it's only a year. But one of the comments is, hey, how is it that nobody is talking about about that book in his hand? How is nobody If anything, there's like one comment that's just like, hey, cool, awesome. Another comment that's, why do you love She-Hulk? And the other one, why is nobody talking about you holding this She-Hulk comic? But like, why would anybody, one, talk about it? There's a moving dinosaur action figure in the video. And 2, nobody's talking about anything. I have 6 total comments. I've only got a few views on everything. There isn't anybody talking about this. You're acting like, this is an Elon Musk post, like, how is nobody talking about this crazy racist thing that Elon Musk said? One, everyone is talking about it. It's a big, huge deal. This guy keeps talking about, like, the media is like that. The media is like this. Like, the media is full of just horrible people. Like, hey, guess what, Elon? You paid $44 billion to be the media. You're the media now. You're the media now. You're the thing that you're complaining about. We all eventually become the thing that we hate as well. Yeah. Die a hero. or become the villain, and you're really becoming a villain, Elon. Oh man. But anyway, it's I very rarely get those comments / posts, but it's always funny when there is one that's just like, hey, no one's taking a big old dump on this guy because he's got a comic book. You know what's great? Anonymous 12-year-old. Yeah, nobody is doing that. You know, I'm not being like massively like share buttoned all over the internet. People are, talking about me at water coolers. But they're also not saying horrible things about me at water coolers and ratioing me and, sharing, like, look at the dumb thing that this guy said. This guy was over here, thinks he could just talk to Skeletor, and that's not a dumb thing.
Why would that be a dumb thing? Everyone wants to talk to a Skeletor. I mean, look at my muscles. I'm a buff skeleton man. Who wouldn't want to have a solid conversation with a guy who's jacked to the walls, to the rafters with muscles, but my face, it's somehow a skeleton, but my mouth moves. I mean, in this case, I move like a skeleton, but if you look at the old cartoon, it's like a drawing on, none of it makes sense, and it's great, and then I call people boobs. I say the word boob on every show.
And that's how you have fun. And exactly, like, he was going to give the world free Wi-Fi and then realized, oh, wait a second, that won't make me super rich. He was going to, like, save the Ukraine, basically, help out. And they're just like, wait a second, you guys. I don't want to help anymore. So many of the things are just like... It's a very Lex Luthor-y thing where it's just like, you can have the machinations. We can all say what we would and could do given certain situations and opportunities. And he is a person that is just like, you literally have all of that power to make the world a better place. Like, it really, in a lot of cases, it takes money and people and time. And you have all of that, but instead you'd rather steal memes and post them as if, check it out, I'm the master of memes. Like, you're just hitting the retweet button and then not quote retweet, and you're not giving any credit to anybody who's made any of the things. You're the opposite. But I mean, that's most meme geniuses. That is what they do. That is what they think being a meme genius is like, I just have all the best memes in my phone ready to go. Okay. You didn't actually do anything. You didn't do anything. I'm the best at pressing copy and paste. Apple C, Apple V, copy and paste with me. Control C, Control V on a Windows machine. You can see I can copy and paste all day and all night. Hold down with my finger on an app. That's right, and that'll copy and paste. No need to feel the fright. I've created these all, but not really. But it's all right. It's the meme world. Because even this comic strip here, like the joke of it or whatever, what the characters are talking about in the end, part of me is just like, somebody must have made this observation before. There's no way I'm the first person in the world to say the thing that Milo was gonna say. But part of me is also like, I haven't really seen it anywhere as far as I know. So I'm going to just go ahead and make this joke, this observation. And if somebody says, I think you'll find that Jim Gaffigan has made that joke 1,000 times. I picked Jim Gaffigan because it's about food. But But that's the same as like I see so many variations of the meme that is oh my god. I wanted to say take care and good luck, but I said take luck instead. Like, oh, take luck. It was easily 20 years ago today. I remember sitting with everybody and watching Brian Regan stand up, and I feel like so much of specifically Brian Regan's stand up from years ago is just memes now, because they're all just very, as a matter of fact, observations that everybody could have, and so many people, I'm just like, do you think that you came up with that? Or did you see somebody else's meme? Like I find it very not hilarious, very annoying when I see a reel, see a little skit that somebody's done where it's just like, you just took that meme from 2 weeks ago and then just said it with your face or whatever, and it's just like, just make something. Just make something. Stop just taking somebody else's thing and repeating it. But that's also the reason that all of the movies are just redos of movies and stories that we already have. My favorite thing to get angry about. Have a good night, CTK. Get some sleep. Get some sleep. And then stretch out. And don't creep. My favorite thing to get angry about is when something does come back around. When, it is just like, hey, we're doing some new Superbad stuff. Hey, we're doing some new Batman stuff. And I mean, you can only call them these righties, these uptighty righty-tighties that are like, oh yeah, they're remaking the thing from my childhood, but now they're making it all woke. What's up with that? How dare they? And all I hear is, hey, you know what? I liked it back when it was racist. Like, that's what I liked. Like, we had a thing that it was all white people and the only black people in it, they were, they were just workers in the background, or they were just this, or they were just nowhere to be found. And now they're just ruining it by just randomly adding all these woke characters or whatever, and everybody's gonna be all woke, and it's just like, you know what you're doing, right? Like, how you're using that word, but you're just acting like this is completely fine. I'm not being racist. I'm just complaining that they're changing what I used to like into something that I hate, which is wokeness or whatever. It's like, wokeness just means not being racist anymore, being inclusive. And then, yeah, why the Fantastic Four keeps sucking is because they just keep making it for the sake of holding on to the copyright rights instead of because they want to make a Fantastic Four movie. And there's so much stuff out there that's just like, it's that same thing where it's like, I got rid of so many comics from when I was a kid because, like, ooh, will these be worth something someday? And no, they won't. I don't have books from the 40s or whatever, so it's like they're not going to be worth anything more than a few dollars. And I would just trade them in at the comic shop for store credit to get more books for the sake of reading and indulging in more art, in more stories, instead of just trying to hold on to these things because they will be worth something. I have a bunch of action figures They're all out of the packages. They've all been animated with. They've all got tons of sticky stuff on them, so they can. Exactly. I'm not that old. I don't. I would never have the opportunity to have comics from the 40s. At the earliest, if somebody maybe like put a little a comic and saved it for me when I was a baby from the late 70s or whatever. But there's so many things. But yeah, like I don't keep any of my action figures in boxes. I get them for the sake of putting them on the shelf, for the sake of messing around with them, animating, doing stuff with them, and I mean, it kind of backfired in that I do have a NECA comic book version, or Mirage style. Was it Mirage? Anyway, Donatello figure that I got for like whatever it was, $29 way back when. And it was like just one of my favorite things. It was the first figure I ever had that had like, double jointed knees and arms and just so much articulation. And I animated him like all the time, just making quick nonsense stop motions of him just moving around for the sake of moving him around. And kept it up on a shelf. Had a nephew that would come over and like, oh, can I play with that? Like, kind of rather not, but you know what? Whatever. What are you going to do? Fully destroy it? And it was never destroyed, but it's like I kept having to super glue his little knee pads back on and whatnot. And in the end, most of the damage was just done from me continually animating with it and giving up on, like, I'm not keeping this pristine anyway. I don't know where any of his accessories are. They're long gone. I mean, I still have at least one of his extra hands and his bow staff. But I really liked it, and I was like, oh, well, it's years later. I'm going to go to eBay. I'm going to go to Amazon. I'm going to look around. I would like to have the whole set of those figures. Hopefully they're not like a bunch, tons of money. Like, they're old now, so maybe they're just like I can get a lot of them for dirt cheap. And then when I went to look, and it's like, oh, you want a real one? You want a real one like the one that you have? That's like a minimum of $400. Like, oh, I did collect something that eventually became worth money, but I think I had more enjoyment with all of the time I did spend animating it. The amount of wear and tear that it accrued was worth it. Like, it made him a fun toy. And then I did for like $50. Got the whole set of all of them, except they're clearly bootlegs. We did a stream about it like 2 years ago. There's a little discoloration on their feet. The plastic isn't the same quality. Their hands don't quite hold things. So I'm like, oh, I can't animate with these. They're not as structurally sound as the real figure was. So they're like on the shelf behind me with the movie Turtles. That for a time were worth something, but then they reissued them all. So so they're not worth anything, but at the same time, like, well, I still want to get them out of the boxes. I want to try the different hands if they have different hands. I want to see them holding the different accessories, like, especially those NECA figures come with so many things, but they all break. Actually, while I was animating Raphael, I have 2 Raphaels, and I wanted to grab one of Donatello's hands and animate between, so I'd have like 3 different hand poses. But to get the hands, to add and remove the hands from those NECA figures, they break so easily. But it was like, like they come with all these hands. They won't break that easily. And I should have, like, I don't know, hit it with a hairdryer or something first to just make sure to soften it up. I know that real toy collectors have a lot of steps that they take before they even pose, or just after they get those out of the packaging. But yeah, I try to pull one of Donatello's hands out, and like the hand disconnected from the peg, and just like, are you kidding me? It's like, it looks like you can just barely get it back on there, but I'm like, it's just bending and stretching more. Like, I'm pretty sure I could do this, but I'm like, well, now I'm spending a half hour of my day doing this. I was already just going to do some stop motion, which is a little, mind-numbing, a little intensive to do. And I'm wasting my fiddling around energy on trying to just, mess with this hand. And I was like, you know what? Who cares? I'm just going to keep it a wide shot. He's just going to give it the thumbs up. I'm going to save myself some time here. And then I just jammed one of the other hands on and walked away. But even with a broken hand and of several Ninja Turtle hands, instead of being that sad kid that's like, I broke my toy is broken. I reveled in the fact that it was like, I made something with this. Yeah, there was some casualties. Somebody might have lost a hand, but there's backup hands, there's super glue, there's whatever, and if I don't fix it, who cares? Who actually cares? It's still just a bunch of plastic nonsense whose sole purpose is to just exist. And sadly, in landfill math, it will exist for basically forever, whether you want it to or not. But at least NFTs are dead and or more garbagey than ever, right? Huh? That's something we can all be happy about. We did it. NFTs are garbage. I don't know. I just watched, I believe Moist Critical video, Penguin01, whatever his name is, talking about the new Bored Ape game that costs like thousands and thousands of dollars to play, and it's just terrible. It's just, one of those, basically a flash game or whatever, like one of those old apps that are just like, get as far as you can. And it's all about being in the toilet and collecting turds. And it's just like, how fitting. How fitting. Ugh, NFTs. I never did, like, destroy. The most I did in toy destruction was those old 80s rubber wrestlers that were like, the tall ones. They, there's no articulation. It's just a rubber thing, and you just throw them at each other, basically. And I remember as a kid, we were basically kind of conditioned or taught from the commercials. Miles, you definitely that comment popped up long after I started talking about the old wrestlers, but the fact that the Iron Sheik was created as this character, just be like, let's all hate him with racism, right? And now he's the one who's all over Twitter just being like, come on guys, let's stop being idiots about things. Let's start being good people, and just like, he was a good guy the whole time. But through xenophobia, they made him a bad guy. Me and my cousin, we basically decided, like, these things are indestructible. We can do whatever we want with them, and they won't break, basically. So we set them up for target practice, or like put them in a tree in like different spots, and just whip rocks at them. Like, that's it. We're just trying to knock them out of different places in the trees next to the house with rocks.
And after a little while, like, realizing, like, wait a second, these guys might not be so indestructible. Like, I only had one. I only had the Nikolai Volkov was the only one I had. I think. I feel like I might have had a different one, another one. But I think I only had him. It was just like a weird thing where it's just like, oh, there's only just the odd few obscure characters at Zellers. And I really wanted one that had an accessory. And at the time, Nikolai Volkov was the only one that came with an accessory, which was that fuzzy hat that stuck to his head. Yeah, we spent a little while just whipping rocks. And then when I realized, like, there's chunks of him being taken out as he was getting hit by the rocks. Also, we didn't have access to or never played with any sort of explosives or bottle rockets or any of that stuff. Never got around to the fire. And if I was hanging around with kids that were like, ooh, like, let's start a fire, it was just like, I gotta go. Like, no deal. Somebody's gonna die. So then we ended up spending, like, a good chunk of the afternoon making armor. I was like, well, we still want to play this. So then we got a bunch of cardboard, and we're just, built up a bunch of armor all over Nikolai Volkov, and then went back to whipping rocks at him, because it's like, well, now he's protected. Chunks of rubber won't come flying out. And we can still play our fun game of throw rocks at a thing, as was the style at the time. All right, now I gotta fill in. And that doesn't even really matter. It's like, I saw basically every other kid as a bad influence. Like, I heeded all of the warnings from teachers, from the after-school special, of just like, if somebody in your neighborhood is doing this, they're probably a bad person. But I was also just so afraid of fire, and there was always somebody who was just like, I got a can of hairspray and a lighter, watch this. Like, no. Because also eventually somebody's just like, they just want to aim it at you, and they're just like, it's going to be fine. It's going to be fine. Like, no, it won't. I don't know who taught you about fire, but if you spray it in my face, then I'm pretty sure I'm going to get burned to death. Like, we're out in the woods. We're talking on the other stream about falling out of a tree on the Streamlabs stream. But I remember one day, because in that story, or whatever you want to call it, I was like, ooh, I fell out of a tree, land on your back, get the wind blown out of you, and you're just like, oh my god, I'm going to die here in the woods. And part of me thinking, like, Jonathan's just going to leave. Like, he's not going to want to get in trouble, so he's just going to leave me here to die. Hopefully you survive or whatever. Like, is he going to get help? I don't know. I'm going to die. And, 5 minutes later, you get the wind back into your, pumping again, and just like, oh yeah, I'm going to survive. This is fine. But I remember one time we were in the woods, and we're, like, chopping trees and making cabins and whatever. And Jonathan's cousin had a hatchet, and he swung it back, and hitting on a tree, but going back over his head, and one time just in whoop, and then the axe blade, left the handle and sunk into Jonathan's head, like right in the middle, like right between his eyes. He just had this scar where it's just like, oh god, like, we're all dead. We're all in so much trouble. Like, I hope Jonathan survives, but we're all in so much trouble. Like, you take him back to your parents, make sure they get him to the hospital. That's going to take stitches. I'm going home. I was never here. Like, that's what childhood used to be. And even now when I see, like, you know, people are like, hey, yeah, the kid's in the backyard, and I can see him from here, like, you sure you don't want to go and just focus on that window solidly, always, until the kid's back inside? Because, you know, I don't know, kids out of your sight for even more than 5 seconds, like, that's not terrifying to you? 'Cause that's terrifying. The old which was the style at the time reference. Never know if it's just the Simpsons reference or the Matt McMuscles reference. That's super funny too, is like there's a lot of things. Like I've definitely watched Matt McMuscles play some games. And same thing, like he'll have a bunch of references that are just like, you're not really saying that these are Simpsons references. You're just saying them. So it's like, you know, you still have to kind of come up with your own things. Like on Alison Pregler videos, I think they're great. I watch them all the time. I just watched one where she was like looking into the Star Trek Voyager holodeck episodes and how they were kind of dumb. But she very much will often just say blatant Simpsons references where it's just like, well, you're nearly my age, so we both know what you're talking about. But then you go into the world and so many people are like, oh, hey, they're just saying things. And you're like, oh, you know about the Simpsons? And they're like, what? What's that? I don't even know what you're talking about. Like, this is just a cool thing that we say because of this, like, Twitch person. Like, you don't even get what's cool. I'm like, oh, you don't even get what, you know, stealing is. But I mean, yeah, like we went from the backyard. We were just off into the woods for miles. Like we went up and down the street, and I was like, this is insane, because it was like there was a lot of just weird, dangerous things. My cousins were telling us at like a wedding or a funeral one time how they like basically let this girl, like they thought she just died. Like, well, she's drowned. Never speak of that. And then she showed up to school the next day like, oh, good, you survived. We thought you were fine. So we just went home, even though it seemed like you were drowning, and we just walked away so we wouldn't get in any trouble. Yeah, and stuff like that, like even, I find it funny because he's like, what happened? What happened? I'm not even sure what that reference is, because when I was a kid, there used to be some commercial that was a PSA of some kind, about, I don't know, if somebody having a seizure or somebody being in a car accident. It might have been an anti-drinking commercial, but you can very plainly see somebody in the video like look up to everybody or in the camera and go, what's going on? What happened? And my mom would always say that, like when, you know, she'd come into a room, she'd go, what's going on? What happened? And I always think that's a reference to that, but at least, like, I don't know, like most of the Matt McMuscles, it's been a little while since I watched any of his videos, but usually I just get them, or, you know, you can tell that's just, you know, like, I'm just referencing these things, but sometimes it's just amazes me when people are like, oh, like, I thought that was just a meme. Like, that's from a movie? Where do you think memes come from? Like, 90% of these are just movie scenes. Oh, man. I almost drifted into a tangent of something that I shouldn't. Because I'm just like, oh, this person does this thing. I can't talk about that person and the things that they do. Maybe someday, but not today. But it's along those lines. Anyway, visually... there's a comic strip. Gonna be about food. And just like last week's comic strip, one of these days I'll start adding words to these again and turn them into books. Again, I don't know. Motivation's hard, but as long as you do something. As long as you do something with your day, you're doing something with your day. You're alive. Then you're alive. We're just trying to be alive over here. And, you know, some of us are trying to destroy everyone. And some of us are trying to, don't be that though, but don't be that. Try to do something even slightly constructive within your own life or somebody else's, or just something benign. Some benign fun is always good for everyone. But of course, also destroying, you know, your enemies, your friends, acquaintances, just the people around you. You know, just destruction for all, like a Metallica album cover. Is that right? The destruction for all. that's I know that's a reference. Justice for all and destruction for some. I don't know. But anyway, this has been another Tuesday. Of course, we'll do Streamlabs Art Stream on the Streamlabs channel on Friday afternoons. Yeah, depending on your time zone, it might not be the afternoon. And always trying my best to be here every Tuesday to draw something, or at least to convince myself to almost finish or work on just some little comic strips for my own need to create, for my own sanity, for fun, and to create merchandise that I will eventually put in a store somewhere and sell. I mean, I sold a mug today, so that's pretty amazing. Huh? One of these days, there's going to be It's a Cool to Be Sad mug in Ireland in Captain Army's house. I assume he'll drink coffee, possibly tea, out of it. And that'll be good. That'll be fun. But yeah, that's me talking nonstop for 2 hours and 20 minutes. Ooh, I went a little longer than I normally do, but that's fine. There's no law that says you have to stream for any specific amount of hours. The other reason I enjoy not having sponsors is I don't have to adhere to sponsor rules. But I mean, realistically, technically, Streamlabs pays me to do a live stream during work hours every Friday, and it's the funnest thing in the world. But yeah, everybody, do your best to enjoy your week, have some fun, be creative, or just enjoy the creativity that's out there. There's so much content to absorb, to enjoy, to indulge in. Even if you don't enjoy it, have fun dissecting it and being mean about it. But just know that, somebody hopefully enjoyed making that thing. Excuse me, getting so thirsty. But yeah, that's it for me. Thanks for hanging out. Excuse me. Can't stop burping. It's a good time to stop. Thanks for hanging out, everybody. Always good to talk at you, Miles, and remember some of the old days. And also, you're just great at bringing up references of things I've forgotten about. And I'm like, oh yeah, Man Big Muscles. That guy does a lot of Spider-Man stuff, and I enjoy it. And CC, great to see you as well. And whoever else is floating around, Captain Army is still drifting off to sleep during his lurk, or whoever that other third person always is that I don't know. I appreciate any amount of numbers up in that corner, viewer-wise. And, I don't know, keep reaching for those rainbows. And also, rainbows aren't trying to ruin the world. Dear all of Twitter, stop being racist and homophobic. Everybody have a good night. Oh, man. But also destruction. Don't forget destruction. I don't mean to bring any sort of disruption, but I do with all this destruction. Enough out of you. Is the beat gonna drop? There it goes. The beat is dropped. Here's some prose. Not gonna rhyme. End of the stream. That's the end of time. For this Tuesday, I lied, I did. Rhyme all snaps. Follow, share, subscribe.